Hi, Ducky.
Hello,
Hey, how are you doing?
pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Is it your first time in this work group?
Uh, so this is my third time.
Your third time. Okay.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you do a
Hey.
quick pull request to the composite schema work group repository? Then send
Oh,
the link.
Yeah, Ducky.
yeah.
Yep,
It's that thing from last time where you add your name to the agenda.
yep,
I think
I'm
so.
working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, just that we have the records in order. Okay.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, I just made a PR.
Great. Hi, Martin. Nice to see you.
Oh,
How are
Hey.
you doing?
Busy, but good.
Well,
Yes.
graphical is conf is soon, right? So it's actually,
Well, hopefully not that soon.
well, we hope to, but
46 days.
it's also like Michael told me yesterday how many days it is? 46 days? And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I have to make all my travel arrangements. It's going to be
Yeah, we have to do that.
yeah.
Yeah, horrible for you, Martin, right?
But
You probably have to take your bike.
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot it's on your home turf.
Yeah, but no vaccinations for you this year.
No,
Well, you probably go to the summit, right?
I'm not sure yet. We haven't
Okay.
discussed that yet.
But it's in. So I'm thinking about it, but it's in California this year, right? Santa
Yeah.
something.
San
Francisco.
Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah.
San Francisco. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought because usually you didn't do it in San Francisco, but it was always outside somewhere.
We,
But
we, we
okay.
used to back in the days. So this is actually a location we've been to before. But then we switched to San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
Well, same.
Yeah, well, although San Diego might be preferable. Awesome. Think we're complete. Yeah, looks like it. Let's start. Let me remind you that by being here, we all agree to the GraphQL membership agreements, the participation guideline, the contribution guide, and the code of conduct. Also, we are recording these meetings and they are published on YouTube. And we are using AI for summaries. So if you are not agreeing to these, please disconnect. Otherwise, let's start with a round of introductions. My name is Micah, and I'm doing the host today.
I am Pascal from Chili Cream.
Martin from Apollo.
Sachin from Apollo.
Lucky from Apollo.
Awesome. I have 2 agenda items. If there are other things you want to discuss, we can put them also on the agenda.
you generously put 15 minutes to selection set map. I think that will most likely fill the whole meeting, but it's good that you have the issue review as the second one there too, just in case.
It's always my standard time, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And anybody something else? Otherwise, we can jump in. Okay, so we have started implementing this stuff, and as is naturally, you find issues with that, or things that we just need to be clear on what constraints do we want to have here, right? And that's why I have a couple of examples, and we can decide if they are things we want to support, if they are not things we want to support. Like we can always say we preserve option value here and say not now. We want to do it maybe tomorrow, but we are not sure. So the first thing, let's actually start simple. This is basically the most simple selection set or selection map syntax that you could have. It's a simple field that you want to require, right? In this case, you just say the field name, could also be something different, SKU, for instance. And then we would check that this field even exists, right? Compile to that, and then inject this field to an argument. Typically, this could look something like this. You have a reviews field, and then you have an SKU argument here. Could be nullable, non-nullable, doesn't matter. And then we require here just to get everybody on the same page. And then we require here the SKU, right? That's a typical scenario. We also have this this pipe here, which is not intended for this use case, but technically that works with the syntax, right? You could say A or B. But if you do something like this, the first thing is what is meant with this, right? Is meant here, if A is null, then use B. And this has other things. What if the requirement, let's get this guy over here. Could be something like this, right? So if the requirement is like the argument is nullable, and this SKU is null, do we inject null, or do we still validate if ID is there?
So I think there is a use case for having, let's say, gimme ID or gimme internal ID if ID is null. But I don't think that it makes sense to encode this in the syntax. Because if you have this explicit case, then you most likely you should probably add this behavior as arguments. I think this is also
well, if we do want to encode it in the syntax, I would suggest another operator, because I think this is specifically like it resembles like type unions, right? This is really meant as a choice between types.
Yeah.
So you could have like a double question mark operator or something for the nullable case.
I shifted there a bit because I was like, well, there's a use case where you don't want to change or you cannot change your subgraph. But I believe that this is something that we shouldn't care about in the first version of this. Because
in any case,
this is a rabbit hole, right? When you allow things like this, then what else do we allow? So we probably need a year to define all the cases.
Yeah, it's also what is meant here. It's like null, it's string empty, but like you suddenly need more than just the pipe there. You need some way to almost a condition syntax.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is not allowed. This would, like, these two would be composition errors.
Yeah, but I think we still need to specify what is allowed and how we
Yeah.
detect that.
Yeah, yeah. I just so why I want to talk about this is to get more into what cases are allowed, what do we explicitly don't want to do,
Yeah.
even if we might do something in that in the future. So this, by the way, is allowed. This is the, as I said, the simplest case. So then we have these more complex looking things. They could also not start with a property here and with a field here. They could also just start with the generic, right? So this is also okay. Right? Then we would have basically this level removed. I put in here the selection set variant just to
I think that's
that you-
helpful. And maybe we
Yeah.
should even define it in terms of that. Yeah.
Yeah, just so you see how this translates to this thing, because here's very clear, right? If A, this guy here is a game, then we're going to consume this side. I explicitly put this in because the decision could also be that if A is game, then this, but if B is book, then this side, right? It's a bit more complex than just a type switch.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if we need to support that case.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's at the moment, it's syntax wise, it would work. We could also, like, it gets more complex, and we could consider to say you have to start with this.
Yeah, or you need like a common prefix.
Yes, because like let's maybe go here, because it can become more complex. Is that even the most complex case? Because like when you start with the generics, then these generics on this level, they have to be the same. Not necessarily, but I would say this is the easiest way. If we say, okay, if you start with the generic here, it must be the same. If we want to water that down, then one of them, they must be assignable from each other. So if you, for instance, have book as an object type, you could also use product as the second here. But they cannot oppose each other, right?
Why not? Because they're separate fields,
No,
right?
this is one object.
Oh, I missed the choice there. I was
Yeah.
in line 5. Yeah.
Yeah. This one. Okay, because we have here choice between these two, but it's not like when you spell that out, right? When you write this out.
Yeah, I would say we probably don't want like the type condition on individual fields in this case. I think they should always be at the same level as the choice operator, right? So in this case,
Yes.
they should be on line 6, like before the braces, on line 6 and line 1.
These are a bit more complex cases. I'm just because we started writing tests for requirements, and there are a couple of where people they're totally made up, right? So this line here translates essentially to this.
Yeah, but I don't think this is how you would specify it.
Okay, how would you do it?
So book and game, I don't think they belong with each individual field, but they always need to be at the level of the choice operator, I think. So you would put it before the braces on 1 and 6.
That's what
Okay.
I'm currently checking if this is supported.
This is support, Pascal, because it's a pass. So you could start the pass like this.
It's not supported.
This is supported.
This is
And
supported, yes, but
And then the object.
this dot curly brackets is not supported.
Yeah, it's supported.
No, this sorry, the generic dot curly braces is not supported.
Well, maybe it should be, but
Why
let's
not?
first
Why not?
let's first write it down and see sort of
The grammar
if
at
we
the
can
moment
understand.
doesn't allow it. At
But
least.
the grammar, just to get that right, the grammar says a pass dot curly braces, and the pass can have a generic.
No, the path is either a path segment or it's type name dot path.
And the pass segment has a generic at the end. I implemented yesterday the path.
Yeah, no, you got it wrong in your. We talk about different things. Remove top review book review.
This guy here.
Yes, remove the path segment.
Because this is on pass.
Yeah, this is what Martin is talking about. What he wants to do is he wants to put the generic in your example before the curly braces so that you can do top review.
But I think without a dot, I think, because we're not going into
the problem. Okay, we can talk about syntax specifics after I wrote that. Okay, like in this case, it would even, because these lines they are essentially the same, right? We could just actually this could. In this case, we would go here review text.
You can just do text and book title. Oh no, sorry, no, I'm wrong.
Title is this guy, and then we would be good. And this would be the same as this guy here.
Yeah.
And then we would have here the choice if that is not a book, but a game that you could buy. Demo.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this will always work, but what I was trying to get at is the idea that there always needs to be a type condition at the same level as the choice operator, right? So if you consider it the choice operator a binary operator, like each of the like the left and the right hand expression have to be basically a type expression, a type condition.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one way of sort of restricting where we allow the choice. I don't know if it's too restrictive, but it's one option.
I mean, to be honest, we could start more restrictive and loosen things up and be more on the safe side with that.
Yeah,
because you cannot take something back that you have given people.
Well, you can.
It's
difficult. I don't actually. So just to get back to this, does we? Oh no, top review. Yeah, I was looking at the dot there, but we are doing top review. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I just typed it with grammar. We can refine that, but it's essentially what's allowed today.
I think it's like it should be like it's book reviewed twice right now.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, this should be product review actually.
Yeah.
But the important thing is this is the choice.
Yeah.
Although in this case, even in this simple case, right? I mean, this might not be. Yeah. This might not be all the customers that have these complex requirements, but technically this is a possible thing that you could do. Like you have two generics to this that makes a choice up.
Well, but the second one is not actually a choice, right? The second one is just like we only do this if it's that type, but we don't have an alternative. So there's no choice operator there.
What is a choice and how do we calculate it? That's also the question. Like, is this a choice? Like also, we are deciding between these two things, but is this on which we do the choice, or is it just this?
I think it's just that.
But what if you have to get first two reviews, and there's the choice?
Then the choice should be nested, right? It should be top review dot, and then you get the choice operator within a
But it makes no sense if
braces.
we have here the choice operator, right? Oh,
No,
I
but we
get
should
what you
do
mean.
dot brace open.
Let me just plain text. Okay, I get what you mean.
No, now all the colors are gone.
We're wrong.
Yeah, but
Let's
they're pretty.
let's
Um,
so if where would we put it in this case?
You would
So you do top review dot, and then you get the
Oh, then we
the
would
opening
need
braces, and
something.
then there are the type conditions.
You mean something like this? Yeah, I
No.
mean it's not syntax we allow it, but
No. You would just write top review.
Yeah,
And you
Yeah.
do dot and you do the curly braces, and then you have
yeah. Then curly braces, and then you do the angle brackets book review.
book review. Yeah.
essentially these two things. So
But does it work?
this from here this line, and from here this line, and in the middle is a pipe.
Yeah, it's basically
This
saying,
guy
well,
here?
we always like
This here,
navigate.
Pascal?
Yes, and then make a dot that it's valid.
But this looks strange because we said this always signifies an object. And this
Yeah,
would be an object in
yeah.
an object.
Maybe we do need parentheses then, or some other grouping mechanism.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, like it's fine. It's fine. This is fine. Like it's a choice, right? Like
We could also like, I mean, it's not. Let me go back. We just need to be careful with the semantics of, like, you could do on this a choice, right? You take the generics until you get to the object, and then you say if this is book, and in top reviews we find a book review,
well,
then this.
it's worse. It's worse. You have to walk down the whole thing to find out if there is a choice, because the choice could also be here.
Yeah, that's what like in the current algorithm I drop, I go deep and then I cancel out, right?
So that's why it would be really nice if we can restrict the choice operator to always have type conditions as its direct children.
Yeah, but that's not an option. That's we exactly have this these things with the generics here.
Oh yeah, but that's not a choice, right? That's the thing.
No,
No,
but it could be one. Like
that's how I even came yesterday to the ID or SKU, right? Because in essence you have to check if this compiles, because there could be other choices. Or what is part of the choice? That's really the important thing. What is the choice?
I think the choice here is between book and game. And then once you've made that choice, there could be further choices. In this case, like book review is not a choice. There's no alternative. It's
maybe our choice syntax is not precise enough.
well, there's another problem here. Do we allow open or closed? Do we allow open choices?
How do you mean?
What do you mean?
Like, what if there is video?
Oh, do they need to be exhaustive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is like, that's the other thing, right? This is not exhaustive.
Because this will get super hard for validation, the satisfiability to find out, well, actually, someone added a type and now it doesn't work anymore.
No, it could be like we handled this in the execution engine, right? If the choice is essentially neither of these, then we cannot fulfill this field. It becomes null.
Yeah.
But you cannot.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, what if it's non-nullable? Then you get a runtime exception.
I wonder if it's helpful to define validation in terms of a selection set. To basically say, this is shorthand for a selection set. Like we define this syntax in a way that's always shorthand for a selection set. But also, there's also a path, right?
Yeah, it's actually the choice. This is imprecise. The choice is actually, do you want to execute this selection set? And then the choice sits somewhere above.
Yeah. The choice would basically be saying, well,
if is book
it's-
in this
it's-
case.
well, yeah, but it would be, for instance, you could say, I always want body, but body in one case comes from like one of the type conditions, and in another case, no, I don't think you need that because you already have the inline fragment. That's the type condition.
Yeah,
I know, but like the thing is that this is a condition.
Yeah.
This could be a condition.
I mean, it is in the GraphQL sense. Yeah. So
Yeah, but
you always end up with a particular shape, right? Like the GraphQL like selection set merging and validation make sure that the shape is always consistent. So you know that, for instance, body it has to be a string in both like both cases. If there's another
yeah, that's why we did the syntax.
But in this case, it's even
always-
like
this always translates to a normal graphical selection set. And the choices that you have is actually between two selection sets. The complexity,
exactly.
the complexity,
And this also the shape, Pascal. This could also alter the shape, because like this could be a one-off choice, right? Fill this argument, fill this part of the input graph, or fill the other part of the input graph.
yeah, but that's not necessary for validation.
No, what
Validation,
matters
you're
is
only-
the resulting shape, and the
It's-
shape is irrespective of the type conditions. Like the shape has to be consistent, and that has to match the expectation of the like the field you define or require on, for instance.
What's hard is that what's different from graphical selection set fragment merging validation is that if there is two possible types in top review, you don't have an exhaustive match, right?
Yeah, it's also like what is the choice here? Is this together? Is this tuple the choice?
Can
Well,
you scroll down?
It's not exhaustive, but there's still a consistent shape. Like if you were to define like native types, for instance, from a selection set that only has book and game, like you in that case you would say it has to be nullable, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But still, what I mean, Martin, is like why I find our choice at the moment imprecise is because we don't really define what the choice is.
But the choice is what you define here. Can you scroll down? Can you copy
Yeah.
this quickly? Can you copy the selection set? The whole
Yeah.
Yeah, could just copy this. And now change this to whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, this game
and product
and
review.
this product review.
Yeah, but it has to be nested within the same top level selection set as the book one, right?
So
Well,
is our choice in this case just getting basically the type name and
One
seeing
sec.
if these match?
One second.
Yeah, just normal GraphQL semantics. The type name doesn't have to match because it can also be an abstract type, but it has to be a possible type.
That it's assignable essentially, or exactly a possible type.
The choice is between these two. That's where the choice operation is. If we can match this, then it's the first one. If we can match this, then it's the second one. Even though that we will write one query or multiple queries or do whatever with the selection sets in the end, the choice is between these two.
Yeah, but still, that's what I said in the beginning. What we at the moment do, we collect the generics.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
There-
we
there-
look. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's another factor here. And that's why I think this doesn't work. What GraphQL inline fragments allow is like deep merges. So you could say, for instance, that like top review, like in this case, both have a body, but you could also have like an author, and then like only get I don't know, the street address for a book because authors don't use email, and then you get the anyway, you get my point, right?
Yeah, that's
Um,
why I did this. You know,
and
or the
and
the origin.
these types don't have to be exclusive. Like they could be so something could be both, for instance, a book and a physical product or something.
Exactly. That's why I had this abstract. Like in the original example I had here,
Yeah.
I had this
So
abstract.
I think the semantics we actually want is to say it's always a reflection of a single selection set, right? And that selection set, like as much as possible, we follow the normal GraphQL semantics. Um, it will always result in a consistent shape, and that shape has to match the expectation of the field you define it on. That means the choice operator isn't actually a choice. Like there is no like we don't have to make an explicit choice. We just perform normal, basically GraphQL execution on the whole expression, and that fills the whole thing.
Yes, but still we need to. We have a choice, right?
No,
We still.
that's the thing. I'm saying there is no choice.
Yes.
So
Like
this.
the choice isn't at the point of the choice operator. We make a choice for every inline fragment with a type condition. That's just normal GraphQL execution. But it doesn't mean that we stop execution. Like if the first type condition matches, you still go to like if, for instance, if dot 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 book matches, we would still go to dot 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 game, or dot 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 physical product because that like overlaps. So the choice operator is not itself a choice. Like we execute the whole expression, and that gets us a consistent selection set result.
Yes, that point is clear. But you have one-off as a case with this, and there are things where you have. It's just otherwise we don't fulfill the spec in that instance. You have to decide which argument you fill up. Like
Yeah, but that's the input side. That's not the output side.
yeah, I mean the input side. Like
Yeah,
you
but
have
this
to
will
make
not-
the choices on the input side.
Yeah,
No,
but
no, you don't need to. It has to match.
the thing is that once you have executed, let's make it easy. Once you have executed this, right?
Yeah,
Then you start filling in the input objects. But
exactly.
this doesn't change, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I say, Pascal. Then you have to make sure that this is not sent to the
No,
subroute.
but that has to be part of the same selection set. Like this is actually wrong. It should be
But
nested
no,
under the same top level selection set, just like a
but then
normal
we
GraphQL selection set.
but then we cannot like with an input like with a one-off, right? We have choice A and choice B, and we are not allowed to set both of them. One must be not set at all.
Yes.
Otherwise, the GraphQL server will refuse execution. It's a validation error.
Yes.
So the choice is when we executed these two selection sets, is one X selection set actually. We merged that, but we need to make the choice. Like we need to select the input data for this. And this might be a decision between book and game.
I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, then this is what we described in the specification so far. We have to, and this must work somehow. Otherwise, how do you fill this up?
Well, similar to like how would you normally define a selection set on top of a one-off? You would use aliases, right? If you use the same alias and only one resolves to.
Yeah, but how do you make the only one resolves to it?
I don't actually know how one-off does it, but I mean, what I'm saying is it's no different from normal GraphQL execution. I'd have to read up on the
I
one-off
mean,
spec.
one
But
of
let's
one of
stick
is
to
on the
type conditions.
Yeah, but that's what I'm like at the moment. Like what I was going for is really canceling this out. If this is not a book, if this is not a book, this result is we throw it away, and we use the other side, and we inject that into the input graph.
But I don't think there's a need for that. Like we can just perform normal GraphQL execution on the combined selection set. That gives you a shape, and that shape has to match the input.
But that doesn't work because we can't
Yeah.
do reshaping with selection set. This is not supported in GraphQL. You can't reshape. So when you have like if you scroll up quickly, you cannot do this with GraphQL execution. That doesn't work.
I don't really see the.
Yeah, we like this part. We are already reshaping data, right? And depending on, and that's why this is important for even for the one-off specification, for instance, to meet that, is that we reshape it into the part that we inject in one of the choices that we have from the one-off. So it is a choice. Like it's a choice between these two things. It's execution-wise, it's really, we just go and get both things from the GraphQL server, from the subgraph. But we have to make a choice for the input
But
transformation.
I think that's too restrictive. Like if instead of game we have like physical product there and book, like
But you can do that.
it's a
You just
subset
don't
of
have to
both.
write. You just don't have to write a choice, right? You could transform your object. Like you could have everything co-located in one object, and then you could use aliases and whatnot, and then you get exactly what you want. We just fetch and inject. But the choice was the choice we originally introduced to have these one-off case where you have input types like this guy's here, this guy here, input. What did it say? Book or game. This is a one-off. And then we have the choice between book. This is side, and we are really not allowed to set anything, not even null. You have to omit one of the sides, the side that you don't choose. It's a structural union. And then you have here the game, which is the game input. And depending, like in this case, I really shaped them the same, right? But they could be vastly different input graphs. So I have to choose this. If this is true, I would inject it into this side. If this is true, I would inject it into this.
Well, you would most likely structure it this way. Like you would say that there's actually a wrapper where you have game, right?
Yeah, no matter how you do, even if you would, even if you would structure it on this level, Pascal, right? You need a choice that game is not produced.
Yeah. No. I'm not arguing against it. I'm just saying that the selection map is a definition of what to select, then a definition of
Exactly.
mapping into an input. So this side is clear. Like we create we can map this to a graphical selection, and this will return us data. And then the mapping is what we do with the structure that we have here. And then the output on the other side is an input type that we can pass in. And the pipe indeed was introduced to decide between different input shapes. So it's actually an input, it's a way to shape the input. It's not something for definition of the graphical query, because that one will be the same anyway.
Yeah, and the way I was at the moment looking at the algorithmic side is that if we have a choice, we first validate if this choice is true. We just need to define what means true. But if this choice is true, we take that. The second could also be true at the same time, but it's the first choice that you go for. It becomes more like this is or still a simple case, right? With lists, it becomes much more challenging.
I believe that it's probably just the graph that you get of the types which define if this choice is met or not. The values are irrelevant. So if this is null and this is non-null, it's a runtime error. Could also be a validation error. But the choice with the pipe is depending on the graph that you receive from the server.
Yeah, null is the difficult one, Pascal. So the first algorithm I did was based on using nullability. But nullability is difficult because this could be allowed to be null. It just maybe even expected to be null.
No,
But there's a difference between not part of a response and null,
Yes.
right? And type conditions
Exactly.
are exactly the case where that happens.
Exactly.
But that means I think we can still map it to a normal result. Like we don't.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a special operator or special
Yes. No.
execution.
Yeah. I agree. It's like at the moment in the algorithm, I'm going for. I'm checking if the type conditions are met, and if they are not met, then this choice is rejected, and we create it from this.
Yes.
And if this is also rejected, like in the one-off case, a choice is something special. It's not otherwise. If you want, you can work with fragments like this in this syntax without making a choice and just inject it like today with Apollo, for instance, with the field selection set syntax, right? You can specify all these things and just inject the whole thing. That works. But the choice is more for when we want to really decide and design this around one-offs.
When this is evaluated, the fetch has already happened.
Yeah.
This is just before the mapping. This is
on the result data.
Like simply, we have a JSON result, we have a JSON data, and how do we map this JSON data now in other JSON data? And the choice operation just defines this mapping. It has nothing to do with how we fetch. So this syntax defines a selection set. That's clear. One selection set that we have to evaluate. And then once we get the resulting data from all the different subgraphs which are involved in this decision, then we have a JSON object which then has to be mapped into the shape that we define in the response. And that could be just one JSON object, but it could also be that depending on what we have in the selection set, we want different shapes like this.
Yeah, it's basically at the moment that was where I was going. Otherwise, is we check for all the when we traverse this, we check for all the generics that we have, and they also all have to be met.
Yeah, I think the term generic is a bit confusing maybe here.
Yes,
they're type conditions. Yeah,
type conditions.
Um,
It's because that's syntax,
yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I think
it could still be not good. I was thinking even about like indicating if you don't have to meet this, it doesn't matter. Then it just is null and assign null here. And I expect that. I just want to have this information when product review is available. I really want game to be matched.
Yeah. I think where things get confusing for me is here it seems to like the choice operator only seems to apply to the top level, right? And there seems to be an explicit choice. And I still don't think that's the right way of thinking about this. Like I would really think about the type conditions as as similar to normal GraphQL type conditions. So you still perform the normal like selection set evaluation, including all the merging rules, and then you apply the sort of the extraction. So then you have a And in the book and game case, for instance, it has to be true, and that you can analyze that statically, that that either book or game results in a value, but the other cannot return a value, the result in a value.
Yes. So that I think we are meaning the same matter, because I would always like these two selection sets which are our choices. I actually merged into one. That's one requirement, and
Yeah.
that requirement might be even resolved through multiple subgraphs. It might not be one that really resolves that. Might be multiple that fulfill them. But it's one requirement that basically it's this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But then the data is coming back, and then we are starting to transform this into this shape.
Yeah.
And here we have a choice. Like, if we cannot fulfill now, and how do we make sure, what does fulfillment here mean? Does it mean only that it's not a book? Or is this also part of the fulfillment? And like in this case, we would check, this must be a book, and top review must be a book review, and then this choice is met. But it could also be, and that's why I introduced the question mark. It could also be it doesn't matter for me. Could be not.
But I don't know if we actually need to like evaluate the type conditions again. Like I think there's separate stages. Like you evaluate the type conditions, you get a shape back, and we have to aesthetically guarantee, but only in the one-off case, right? That once you start extracting these paths from that shape, only one of those paths returns a value.
Yeah.
In other cases, like with normal type conditions and without
we don't need that.
one-off, like the only thing we need to guarantee is that the extracted paths under all type conditions sort of have the same type, but that's guaranteed by the normal selection set merging rules in GraphQL.
Yes, but in this case, we don't even need the choice here, right? Or why would we need the choice for that? Like you could do this and then just say, okay, because this would be a collision, right? Then we would just say this is actually the game review text. And
Yeah, you can also nest it, but
I mean, you could do that, but I mean,
yeah, you could also nest it, whatever. But
you probably but what I'm saying is even the normal case with review and book title, like you probably want let's say you just want the same two field names in both cases, but they come from a very different path. That's still possible. And I think in that case, syntactically, we do need the choice operator. It's just that it's not actually a choice that gets made at that point.
Do we really? Because you could also do this, right? You could also say, I have here game. This would be my case one. If I really want both information at the same time, I just want the GraphQL data and the
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is like that works, but it depends on what input shape you're trying to match it to, right? So if the input object like just has let's say a text and a title, and in one case, like you just have to make sure that like what you extract
I
are
get
two
what
strings.
you mean. I get what you mean. Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's a one-off case that this is a problematic one. Because in the one-off case, we really have to make a choice, and that we can only send one data piece. But
yeah, but I'm still not sure we actually need to make a choice besides just like extracting both the book and the game path from the result shape, and one of them has to be empty, like not null, but actually like not a value.
you know what would make everything here really simple is the fragment isolation, where you can this is a proposal where you can do this.
yes.
Well, but this is basically what we're doing, right?
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, but the evaluation now it's
I don't think
clear.
I don't think we need it because we already have the normal evaluation rules. Like if we're selecting, I don't know, product name or something, then if you don't go through like those type conditions, if those don't match, you don't actually have a value for product name in the response.
Yeah.
It's not null. It's just not there.
Yes.
Question quickly. The typing well, you could still have it though. You could still have it. Because this could be an interface. So it could actually map to.
Yes, that's the other thing, right? If the interface, it might be that both choices are true.
Even if we have.
Oh yeah, but it's actually fine if both choices match.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and that's actually a good thing in case of like subselections that have to be merged. Like that's one of the most powerful things that GraphQL gives you.
Yeah, but you couldn't, like, the problem is that you couldn't, if this thing, if the left side and the right side have a different structure, you have to choose. Or we can also have a different terminology for it. I don't really care. But the reason why this exists is because that you can differentiate what you want to pass in. So it could be book title in this case and review text in this case. And even if you evaluate both, you shouldn't pass in both to the subgraph.
Yeah, also for transport, right? It could be a huge amount of data that you don't want to even have sent down to the subgraph.
I'm not sure if choice is the right word, because essentially it's a type union, right?
Yeah, and I actually think that, like, doesn't the structure of the shape guarantee that like it either has to be like just normal GraphQL selection set validation, right? I don't think you can have like two different fields in the same path.
Yeah, in this
Like
case, the thing is why this works like this here, right? In GraphQL in the selection set, if in this case it would be merged. But
Can
let's
you-
say this is a different field, but right?
Yeah.
Then it looks completely different. If you're starting the mapping process,
Yeah, this
and you
this
would
would be
map both.
illegal in GraphQL. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and because we are now traversing the result structure and gathering up this field, setting this field, now it has a value. And then we go to the second choice and we would override the value. And this is why this choice is important, because we could map different information to the same fields here.
I'm just not sure what the choice actually does here, especially in more complicated cases with interfaces and multiple choices.
Yeah, but I think one thing is clear that this is a type choice, not a value choice. Like we are not making a choice on if something is null or if something is empty. We're making a choice here between type cases.
We are choosing.
Well, if that's the case, maybe we should go back to the original, like allowing the book angle brackets before the braces, so on line 21 and line 26.
This guy?
Well, no, I would put it here on, like, I don't know. Can I write here? How does this work?
Yeah, you can write with.
But where's the? I don't actually know where.
This is here. So
I just-
there's. Do you see? Like, there's a button.
where's the-
Like a pen. It's in the
Oh
left
yeah,
lower
I see
corner.
it. Yeah. Okay. So I think here there should
Yeah.
be like angle brackets book, and here there should be angle brackets game, and then these can go.
But what about these?
Those are not the choices in this model
But
because there's only one choice operator. Like that's the only top level choice that you have to make.
is it only a top level choice? Because you might have the case that I annotated there. It could also be just that your choice is not top level, but is after a certain amount. But right.
Or you
yeah,
can-
but then I think the prefix needs to be the same for all choices, because the choice doesn't happen at the top level. It only happens like once you go down that path. Like if you're only differentiating between product review and book review and not between book and product or book and game.
Yeah, I was thinking that the pass, this pass, is the choice. Like I agree why we wouldn't want to have this here like this and make choice between of that, because then it becomes very convoluted. We have to visit multiple paths, but in this you have a clear path to the object creation. And it could very well be that you want to check both generics and not generics, type conditions. Like there could be two choices, and the syntax is very, very compact.
Well, so let's break it down quickly. So
But
this
yeah, go ahead.
this is selection set. This is selection set. This is selection set, right?
Mhm.
And then we have this here is input, and this is input. And we know that this has nothing to do with the selection set, because the selection set would be equal. So the choice could actually be limited to the first object creation that we find.
Or list creation.
Not sure. Different problem. Not today. We only have 3 minutes left. But the choice operator could technically be linked.
Yeah, but in this case, there could, and that's my argument, Pascal, is it could be that we have two choices here, but what if we don't? Like if this should not be part of the choice. How do you say that?
Well, you just move this into the object. Done.
Yeah, okay, I can move that into the object. But then I have in the object, like, it's just, what is your expectation? Is your expectation from the syntax that you have to then have this long, that you have to write now this just to make it not...
I do have a hard cutoff at 7.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we don't solve it today, right? It's just, I want to start the discussion on that, because otherwise we don't get an algorithm for that out.
Yeah, I mean,
and
let's
for this
continue
we
the
can
conversation
in Slack.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this we can come up with a very good, strong algorithm in the spec that describes how to gather up the data and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Then
well, see you next week.
see you next week.
see you.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.